Weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Sunshine today with a high of 88, chance of showers and storms tonight with a low of 70. Maverick's Real Roast Beef is an East Metro treasure with the best roast beef sandwiches in the Twin Cities and so much more. Maverick's is located in Roseville on Lexington Avenue, 1 mile south of Highway 36. Visit their website at mavericksbeef.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
1, 2, 1, 2. Turn my mic up. 1. Get up again and smile. Get up again and smile for me. Get up again and smile. Get up again and smile.
And good morning, and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. And isn't that a wonderful song? I love it. Get up and smile. And we're smiling because we are at the largest Pride Festival in the world. We are down at Loring Park, and today we're celebrating Pride and the arts. Rick Bernardo is my co-host today.
That's me, Ricky Ricardo Bernardo. And by the way, that music we just heard was some Patrick Adams' recent single, just a bit of it, Smile. We recently had him on our show. Go to patrickadamsmusic.com, music with a Z. All right.
I'm also celebrating Cup of Java. They gave me some French roast. I love them. We have some other sponsors too, right?
Right, we do. We have Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus, entertainment worth coming out for. We've got Maverick's Real Roast Beef, the best roast beef sandwiches you'll find in the metro area. And we've got CauseCart. That's your local marketplace website to buy socially and environmentally conscious products.
I hope you'll come down to the Pride Festival. It is fabulous. And our guest today is John Heimbuch. He is the founding member and the artistic director of the Walking Shadow Theater Company. He is a playwright, a director, and an actor. In addition to his work with Walking Shadow, John is a filmmaker, educator, and sings with the rock band Bad September. He has theater degrees from the Minnesota State University, Mankato and Purpose Center for the Arts Education, and a filmmaking degree from Minneapolis College. Welcome, John.
Thank you so much. So glad to be here.
John, we are so excited. When I first read your press release, I went, I want him at Pride.
Oh, well, thank you.
It was wonderful for your show that just closed.
Yes, Mae West and the Trial of Sex, which happened with Walking Shadow Theater Company at the Crane Theater, just closed last week.
Fabulous. And Rick, you went to that show.
I did go to that, but let me say how I know John.
Perfect.
From a 2016 production by Walking Shadow Theater called The Christians that was named one of the 10 best productions of the decade in the Twin Cities by the Star Tribune. And I got to play piano during this whole amazing, sophisticated production. It was just blew people away. And also I've been watching John's performances of about the performances of Gilgamesh and Beowulf around the country. And I just went to Mae West and the Trial of Sex. What a name. That's got like a different kind of ways. And I just went last Saturday night. That was the next to the last show, wasn't it?
It was.
All right. And this is the debut for it, right?
It is. Yeah, no, it's an original work. It just, this was its first production. And hopefully there will be more in the future, but who knows?
I loved when we had our first conversation and you told me more about the history of Mae West. And I'm embarrassed that I did not know what an advocate Mae West was for the gay community.
She was, yeah. So she had actually done 2 plays that were based on queer culture in the 1920s, one of which was called The Drag, which is what my play is about, and the other of which was a year later called The Pleasure Man. But she knew a lot of people through the burlesque and vaudeville scenes, and female impersonators were kind of having a heyday in the 1920s in New York.
But she got in trouble as well with that.
She sure did. Yeah. So the basic story of what happened is she was running a play in 1926 called Sex, which ran through 1927. And in 1927, she opened another show called The Drag, and it was in out-of-town tryouts, and it was a study of queer culture as well as some clinical approaches to homosexuality. And it was populated by actual drag queens from Greenwich Village. And and the Bowery. And it was in tryouts, and because of its complexities with local theatrical powers that be, as well as the city of New York, they clamped down, and censorship laws were passed in Albany as a result of the drag and her efforts to get it to Broadway. So it never actually got there.
Well, I know, Rick, you have some ideas that came to you in terms of some of your own ethics backgrounds and some of the challenges and looking
Well,
at, from the show.
yeah, one of the angles I have on this whole topic, let alone the Gay Pride Festival, is about 14, 15 years of teaching ethics at university. My background is in ethics. And that's just how do we talk about right and wrong in a way that's powerful and not just judgmental? And the foundation of all of that subject comes up in the play, in the sense that when you don't have a choice in something, there's no morality happening. It's not even a discussion. I can't even choose not to like chocolate, let alone other things that, chocolate goes deep, but other things. And so if we have a conversation in our classes about like skin color, where you're born, who you're attracted to, even gender identity, at least 60 years we've known that you can be born with an anatomy a little different than what is your psychic gender.
Yeah.
So all of those are not, there's no right or wrong about that. But what is right or wrong is being nasty and judging people about something they can't help. That is a right or wrong thing.
Right.
It's about your character. It's about being mean.
So tell me how you got interested in doing this play about Mae West. How was it developed?
Yeah, sure. So a couple years ago, her play The Drag entered the public domain. And I found out about it through a company called the Hedgepig Ensemble, who was doing a program called Expanding the Canon, which is about increasing the canon of classical works to include more women and queer authors and BIPOC artists. And so I read this play, and it's fascinating. Both the language feels shockingly modern, like you could see it in a movie about drag queens right now, but it also has all these really kind of dated ideas about what causes homosexuality and what we should do about it as a culture. So it's not really stageable nowadays. I mean, without heavy modification, people are doing it. I've seen a production. It happened here at the Minnesota Fringe just last year, and so I was struck by the story of the play and the fact that Mae West did 10 days in jail, and it created this censorship craze. And I wanted to know the history of how that came about. And the thing was that this censorship law, once I researched it, it's called the Wales Theatre Padlock Act. And it basically created a provision so that producers who were staging works that could be clamped down by the police, which included sexual licentious work, which included anything with sex workers or queer characters, might be punishable for the producer by shuttering their theater for up to a year. And so that meant that any producer who was even considering staging a work that had any of those elements just wouldn't touch it. It was poison. And that law was in effect until the civil rights movement.
So
in
the theater
1960s.
itself could be liable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how about any of the performers and playwrights?
Yep, the
everybody.
performers, everybody. So they made it so the actors, the director, the producers, the playwright, pretty much everyone involved in the production could do jail time if they were involved in a show that was considered licentious. And they modeled it off after the dry laws and trying to clamp down.
So prohibition.
On prohibition, yeah.
Prohibition moved over.
So they
enlarged.
the way they were fighting the speakeasies was how they were going to fight the theaters.
Wow.
And it occurred to me, while I was watching this production, how wide and deep that perception and experience of what was licentious, what's the word that begins with an S?
Salacious.
Salacious. I don't use that word too much anymore.
No, it's a little dated.
Yeah, but that definition was just like pretty much anything that upset somebody, especially the judge.
Yeah, and it became clear to me going through the trial just how much the district attorney and the assistant district attorney and all the powers that be were sort of working against this. A lot of collusion seemed to be happening.
So you developed it based on the play
Yeah.
that came out, being able to look at the timing, but you had some fun creating your own spin on it.
I did.
So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about your spin.
Well, I wanted to look at Mae West as an icon because, you know, if you're going to include her in a work, she can't be a secondary character. She has
Yeah.
to be the central focus.
Yeah.
And so I really was very interested in looking at allyship and the way that her upping this work really created, upping the drag, really created the problems that existed. But then our director, Allison Vincent, had a lot of fun creating this. So we had an ensemble of 6 actors playing 50 characters, and we had
Now pause there for a second.
mhm,
6
6 actors.
playing 50.
That's right.
I got dizzy,
Yeah, it's a lot.
but I followed it all. I don't know how. It's something to do with stage production.
Yeah. So we set it in the backstage of a vaudeville style theater. So both of the sides of the stage were piled with props and costume pieces, and then people just made all their transitions there in front of the audience and just jumped on stage.
They were
So
off
a
and
certain
on.
prop or a certain scarf or
Like
a
change
hat.
hat or whatever, and suddenly they're a different character.
All of a sudden, they change like a scarf or something and posture.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of, I could see a lot of physical and
And accent
vocal
work.
theater
Yeah.
work happening.
Yeah. And it's just so Mae West was played by a single actor, Emily A. Grodzik. And then the rest were just this ensemble of really skilled physical performers.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, it sounds like it was an extravaganza
Yeah, I think it was.
of theater movement, ideas, and excitement. And you're hoping that this will have a chance to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I think with any production, especially one that you pour a labor of love into and this much research into, you want it to have a secondary life at theaters elsewhere, either outside the Twin Cities or in other places, or even in the Twin Cities again at different companies. But the historical events took place in 1927, and that's only 2 years away. So my thinking is that there's probably going to be people who want to commemorate the 100th
So stay
anniversary.
tuned, literally.
Yeah. A couple of websites to find out more about this work is walkingshadow.org, just the way it sounds, and John Heimbuch, that's HEIMBUCH.com, John Heimbuch. Now we're going to listen to a little more of Patrick Adams' recent single, Smile, whom we had on our show recently. And we'll just listen to that.
You've seen father left to raise a child all up on his own, showing him more love than he could ever know, but grieving every night because his woman's gone. But he could hear mama saying, "Get up again and smile. Get up again and smile. Get up again and smile. Get up again and smile."
Hey Francois, how are you enjoying your first vacation in Minnesota?
Bonjour Laura, je suis très content car j'ai découvert un truc des macarons.
Oh, you're happy because you found a truck of macarons? You mean a food truck?
Oui, il s'appelle Nicolette's.
Oh, you mean Nicolette's Macaroons. Oh,
Oui, Nicolette's macarons.
they're very popular.
Ces macarons sont délicats, délicieux et raffinés. Ils me rappellent Paris.
Delicate, delicious, refined, and they remind you of Paris. That's a big deal, Francois. You're so finicky.
Je suis français, je suis un gourmand.
Oh, is that French for picky?
Oui,
Did you know that Nicolette's will be at the Twin Cities Pride?
mais je suis gay, j'aime bien Nicolette's.
Oh, I know you're gay and you love Nicolette's. That's why I'm telling you, their truck will be at the Twin Cities Pride.
Allons-y, Happy Pride.
And you can also go to the website at nicholasmacaroon.com.
Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus is building community through music, one powerful performance at a time. With a vision of equality and inclusion, Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus creates exceptional, entertaining, and essential programming that uplifts, educates, and inspires. Through harmony and heart, Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus challenges injustice, celebrates diversity, and transforms lives. Learn more and find upcoming performances at tcgmc.org. That's tcgmc.org.
Located just north of 50th in France, the Great Wall Restaurant has provided a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, they offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Stop by their Edina location or call for takeout at 952-927-4439. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Hi there, it's Jennifer again. I just have to tell you how Hypercharge Wellness has been life-changing for me. After my very first session, I felt a new sense of calm, started sleeping better, and my mind just felt clearer. I still can't fully explain all the science behind it, but I have heard that it's also great for people with chronic conditions, and I can totally see why. Every visit, my lower back pain eases, and I just feel so much better overall. I really noticed when I missed a few sessions recently due to a busy schedule. I could definitely feel the difference, and I knew I had to get back on track. If you're dealing with fatigue, pain, or even chronic issues, you owe it to yourself to give it a try. They even offer a $49.99 introductory session and consultation. Call and get started at any of their 3 metro locations. Check out hyperchargeclinic.com and tell them Jennifer from AM 950 sent you. That's hyperchargeclinic.com.
When it seems like everything is going wrong, you'll head up to the sky.
Good morning. I'm Lori Fitz, and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we're talking about ideas that matter. And I'm glad you have joined the conversation because we are here live at Pride, and we would love to have you come down to the Pride Festival. It is fabulous. It is the largest Pride Festival in the world. Over 650,000 people visit Pride this weekend. And hosting with me today is Rick Bernardo.
I am Rick Bernardo, and we just listened to one more part of the single Smile by Patrick Adams at Patrick Adams Music, MUZIC.com. And we had him on the show recently, and it's just a great vibe to be here at the Pride Festival.
And we have a lot of sponsors we want to be thanking.
And we thank the following sponsors. Besides the other ones that we mentioned, there's MELSA, the Metropolitan Library Service Agency. That's your Metro City's public libraries that are committed to providing quality services, resources, and programs to the LGBTQ plus community. And check out their Metro Pride book list. Easy for me to say. There's also Minuteman Press. That's AM 950's printing partner. And Cup of Java, serving coffees, drinks, and goodies in the Bryn Mawr neighborhood of Minneapolis.
I want to especially thank Cup of Java because they have been serving me some amazing French roast coffee, and I am a coffee addict, and I deeply appreciate that. Also, Nicolette's Macaroons has been so kind to give me some cookies, and thank you. I needed my cookies this morning. We're so excited to have John Heimbuck as our guest today. John is the artistic director of Walking Shadow Theater Company. He's been making short films since 2011. He's a vocalist for the retro futuristic rock band Bad September, and he also performs in Charlie Bethel's epic one-person version of Beowulf and Gilgamesh. He lives in Minneapolis with his spouse and his adorable cat, Trotsky.
You go ahead.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, I don't know. Thank you. Hi, I'm glad to be
It's
here.
radio, so we can't see. No, we can a little bit.
We're delighted you're here, John.
I'm really glad to be here.
And Rick went to your show.
I did go to the show, not to brag, but I was there Saturday night, the next to the last show before the following
And
last Sunday.
and that show was The Mae West and the Trial of Sex.
Good to name it. Mine as well. And it was just fascinating. And we were talking in the previous segment about how many actors there were, 7 total, 6 ensemble, 1 plays central character, Mae West, and 50 characters. It was amazing. And I remember, watching for about 9 seconds. I was trying to notice how many actors played alternately female and male characters, regardless of their own gender, and how the audience, we just went with it.
I think almost everyone played a character. I mean, maybe not everyone, but almost everyone.
Almost.
Yeah. And we were very flexible with gender, because the show is about drag.
Yeah.
And we just had all these actors who are so good at switching between characters that we wanted to give space to explore that.
And you had a consultant who's a drag gender. A drag consultant.
Yes.
That helped you with the gender fluidity.
Yeah, absolutely. Domino DeLorean is a fantastic drag performer, and has a background as a classical performer as well, a classical actor. And she's just a wonderful person and delight, and has been performing in the Twin Cities as a drag performer and Chicago as well. And so she came up a bunch of times to just give guidance to people on stance and posture and queer culture. Many of these actors just sort of took to it quite naturally, and some of them already had quite a bit of experience as well.
I remember now in hindsight, posture was such a big part of it, the physicality, but I don't even really know which was the closer to the actor's own authentic posture off stage and which wasn't. But they distinguished really clearly. One time it was one woman was this like, bracing police officer kind of turn. I don't know. I just remember so you could see the difference really clearly.
Yeah. No, they put in a lot of work into doing that. And one of the things that we were really looking for when we were hiring this cast was people's ability to just switch between characters so quickly. And so we gave everyone an audition that was just like a line or two of different characters and then switch and then switch and then switch and then switch. I think 7 different characters they played in a minute. And that was a fun adventure. And some people really did great. And those are the people we ended up working with.
I think part of why Mae West is kind of a challenging character, she's complex,
She is.
was considering that doing drag at that time was not okay.
Right. Yeah. No. It was a complicated thing. And so if you were a vaudeville performer, many of them were on the circuit. There were female impersonators who were regularly traveling, and going to various cities throughout the country. And if you were some of them were even on screen, and that was taking off. But I will say that they had separated. They were doing a very, very intentional job of trying to create a respectability for those female impersonators on the vaudeville circuit and to separate them from gay culture. And it was sometimes more effective and sometimes less effective, but many of them, of course, were gay, even though they didn't admit it publicly. So,
and the sort of hint at sort of the poor unfortunates was, complicated then.
It was, yeah. And Mae West herself had sort of, for writing The Drag, which was her play about drag queens, she had sort of mined the most current psychological material about it, which is very dated according to our standards today, almost 100 years ago, and looking at all sorts of things. And her perception about this changed over the course of her life. And she was obviously a pretty big advocate of it in the 20s, queer culture and queer performers. And then in the 50s, in her autobiography, she is a lot more guarded about what she says about it. And then when she's working with Gore Vidal in the 60s and 70s, she's much more open and flexible about it. So it's
and in the play, you've incorporated, that she's asking for their endorsement.
She is.
She's asking for their support.
Yeah, she's asking for both the support of the queer community as well as the support of medical officials, to try to say that what they're doing is not about sexual licentiousness, is not about morality. It's actually a very moral play, and they're trying to basically say that we're shining a light on the plight of these individuals. So
and that's. Yeah, and that cuts a couple of ways. One is there was one scene when she's talking to the therapists and doctors in a special production she had for them, and she says, these people of what is it called, the third sex? We shouldn't blame them for a thing they cannot help. The thing they cannot help, and that kind of implies that if they could help, it wouldn't really be cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's this weird thing, right? Where, going back to your statement about ethics earlier, what freedom do we have in things we cannot choose? And it's not far off from the born this way approach to queer culture. And that makes a lot of sense to me. But also, it does sort of imply within the context in which she used it that there's a little pity. And it's this odd thing of what is allyship, and where does patronizing approaches within allyship fit, and how do we deal with that?
I love that
as members of the queer community.
I love that, and I know that we have to go break.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that your website and to learn more about John is to learn about all kinds of cool things he's doing. And that's johnheimbuch.com. And that's the last name is Heimbuch, johnheimbuch.com. And we're going to come back and learn more about some of the other works that you're doing and the cool things coming up.
And this is a little more Patrick Adams music. This is a song called If I Ruled the World, A Change of Heart. That goes for about a full minute.
What would life be? You see, every man, woman, boy, and girl would live in peace and harmony. If I ruled the world, the change would surely come. No more tears, no more fears. We would all see the morning sun. So all we need is a change of heart. If I ruled the world, no hate, no poverty.
All Energy Solar is proud to be back at the Twin Cities Pride Festival this year. With over 15 years of experience, they've helped Minnesotans switch to clean, sustainable solar energy. They make solar accessible to everyone while reducing your carbon footprint. Whether it's for your home or business, All Energy Solar designs personalized systems and delivers top quality experience from start to finish. During Pride Weekend, All Energy Solar is offering a special $500 discount when you stop by their booth and go solar. You can find them near the Harmon Place entrance in the red zone at booth 595. Need a little sunscreen while you're enjoying the festival? They've got you covered with free mini sunscreen and fun temporary tattoos all weekend long. The friendly team of solar experts will be on hand to answer your questions and celebrate right alongside you. Stop by and say hi or visit allenergysolar.com to learn more.
June is bursting with color, community, and joy, and Coscart is your destination for shopping with pride and purpose. Find pride-themed earrings that support queer causes, hand-poured candles that celebrate identity, and bath teas that nourish your spirit, all while with supporting the makers and mission-driven brands working to build a better world. At Coscart, every item reflects a cause, every brand gives back, and every order helps create the kind of future we want to live in. Biodegradable packaging and carbon offset shipping are standard. And during Pride Month, you get free local delivery in the Twin Cities when you enter pickup at checkout, now through June 30th. Whether you're buying a gift, treating yourself, or just browsing for joy, know that every purchase supports positive action. Celebrate Pride. Shop with purpose. Visit cause-cart.com today for free local delivery in the Twin Cities when you enter pickup at checkout until June 30th. cause-cart.com. Shop what matters to you.
The Council on LGBTQIA2S+ Minnesotans is conducting a community needs survey. Data from the survey will be used to make recommendations to improve LGBTQ people's health and well-being in Minnesota. The May 31st deadline has been extended through June. So as we celebrate Pride Month, make sure you take advantage of this extraordinary opportunity to tell our stories. The survey is confidential, and you can fill it out online at mnqt.info/survey.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
If I ruled the world, what would life be? You see, every man, woman, boy, and girl would live in peace and harmony. If I ruled the world, the change would surely come. No No more tears, no more fears. We would all see the morning sun.
Good morning.
All we need.
I'm Lori Fitz, and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. And imagine if we ruled the world with peace and harmony and love for all. What would that look like? It would be a beautiful place. Thank you, Patrick Adams, for that song, sort of guiding us with our Pride and the Arts show today. This is the largest Pride festival in the world. I just want to mention that 650,000 people come to here. Please come. And co-hosting with me today is Rick Bernardo.
I am here, and thank you. And we've got a couple of a whole kinds of sponsors. We want to thank the sponsorship support of our broadcast for Twin Cities Pride. There's no place like home realtors, working hard for our clients while serving the community. And there's Nicolette Macrones. Check out their food truck all weekend at Pride.
I have to say, I just ate one of their macaroons, Nicolette's macaroons, and John did too.
I did.
It's really good. Also, big thank you to Cup of Java, who knows that I am a coffee addict. Their French roast is amazing. And that was John Heimbach that said that, yes, he had a macaroon. He is our guest today. He's the founding member and the artistic director of Walking Shadow Theater Company. He is a playwright, a director, and an actor. And since 2019, John has been performing in Charlie Bethel's Beowulf and Gilgamesh at theaters, festivals, and universities across the states. And you can find him online at johnheimbach.com. And the last name is spelled Heimbuch. And thank you so much for being here today,
Oh my gosh,
John.
thank you for having me.
This is terrific. We've just been spending some time talking about the last show,
Mhm.
Mae West.
And the trial of sex.
Yes.
It's so ominous when you say it like
Yes.
that.
Yes. Well,
Trial of
it's a
sex.
show that I hope to see again.
Yeah.
And it's a hope that you're in the making in terms of shopping it around
Yeah,
and
I
letting
mean,
folks know about it.
yeah, it's been 2 years or 3 years of writing the show, and now researching and writing the show, and now we'll see what the long tail of it is.
Is there going to be video? Or
We did take video of the production, and we are considering doing a release of that video in a limited capacity later this year.
I'm sure you got to work with that and see what you got. All right. That's wonderful.
And you're working on another show now.
I am.
Tell us
I
about
am.
that.
Yeah, I jumped right into another show. So I'm working on a new show that is called Friends and Lovers. It is a polyamorous rom-com. And it's been in development just now for 10 days, and we're doing public workshops of it for members of the theater community and polyamorous community and queer community. We had one workshop of it publicly last night, and
I
we're
was gonna
having another tomorrow.
How did that
Or
go?
tonight. It went really well.
Last night at
Or-
Black Forest Inn.
That's right.
Will it be there tonight, or where is it tonight?
No, tonight it's
In
going to be in
St.
a place called Arts on the Fund, which
Oh.
is the arts arm of Zion Lutheran Community Church, which is on the Fund.
All right.
I love that you're doing this show because you don't see too many, gay rom-coms.
You don't. Yeah, there's Bros and there's Jeffrey, and there are others, but the thing that I noticed is having done a survey of sort of as a person who is ethically non-monogamous myself, I found myself looking for representation and finding other people who have multiple loving relationships, and there's relatively little of it out there in the media. And so I found myself looking at movies and plays and books and trying to find representation that just mostly didn't seem to exist. So I thought, well, gosh, as a playwright, I should probably solve that problem.
and that is why I have never said polyamorous rom-com until the last week.
Right?
It's a beautiful phrase. It's like I've got to find excuses to use that more.
Yeah. And there have been a few out there. There's a screwball comedy in the 1930s based on a Noel Coward play called Design for Living, which is just wonderful. And there's a movie from 1980 called Summer Lovers with a very young Daryl Hannah in it. And there's a handful of others from the 90s, but yeah, it's kind of an untapped genre. And the thing I really discovered last night, as we brought community in to respond to the work, we had about an hour of material that we presented to people, and people were just really interested in it and felt like very connected to it, and felt like it was they were like, I've dated that person, I've had that conversation, I've had that situation, that feels very real to me, and yeah, it's the premise is the two people who meet on a sci-fi panel convention talking about monsters and hit it off, and then it's about their larger social sphere of friends and lovers, and how this relationship works or doesn't work. And it hits all the rom-com tropes, but of course polyamory, for those who know, is it has a lot of people having communication, and it prioritizes communication and clear communication. So it's tough because, of course, rom-coms are all about bad communication. So how do you find that balance has been a really interesting game.
It's also sort of the Shakespearean, how do you overcome obstacles and the strange connections and disconnects and all of that.
Absolutely. And, the well-worn tropes of rom-coms are pretty much known to all of us. They're in our bones. They're part of the DNA of our culture.
And we yearn for it because I think when it does celebrate at the end a unity, because as in Shakespeare and other good comedies,
right,
you overcome obstacles so that you can have a union.
Yes, you must all come together at the end.
Exactly. So, we won't go there.
Oh, sorry. This is pride.
Yes, exactly. So that you can celebrate the union of the community.
Yeah.
And searching for that community openness and welcome I have to imagine, is part of that navigation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find myself looking at non polyamorous rom-coms, like one of my favorites, of course, being Four Weddings and a Funeral. And what I love about that particular movie is that the romantic relationship that's at the center of it is actually less important than the friends group.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Because that is a navigation as well. Is that community breaks apart, and how does it come back together?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we all yearn for that. Trying to figure out, it gets maybe symbolized in Friends and Lovers. It gets symbolized
It does.
in activities, but there's something deeper. And I think there's this particular yearning right now for a sense of community.
Yeah, there is.
And you'd mentioned that you want people to give you feedback. So tonight you want that feedback as well.
Yeah, so I'm working with a director, Cassie Skoritz, who is wonderful and has a lot of great training on different types of communication methodologies, as well as feedback. Has a degree in English literature as well as a degree in theater, and so is a really, really thoughtful person about the process. And so they've been giving a lot of really insightful questions to the audience as well as the actors, going through a feedback process afterwards. And just it's not overly drawn out, but it gives people a chance to respond with their feelings and insights and thoughts. And one of the things I've really been embracing, both in this work and in Mae West and the Trial of Sex, is sort of an iterative process in my writing, trying to get community buy-in as early as possible, even before the work is done, even before I have a finished draft, so that I know that I'm on the right path with it.
Well, it also engages us.
It does.
So that we're kind of on the journey with you and kind of rooting for you. You've got kind of your cheerleaders that get to be, learning and on this journey. It's almost like going on a river. What's next on this river raft?
Yeah. And I think it's really fun as a person who makes theater. I work with a lot of designers, and as a person who makes film, I of course work with a variety of people. And we're so used to bringing a play in that's finished and then working on it.
Yeah.
But a standard design process is that you bring in an idea, and then before you finish the idea, you make sure that it's working for everyone. And I think, why not do that with a play too?
In fact, Mae West and the Trial of Sex, there was a lot of that going on, where she was trying out ideas, working with people in the community to actually, with permission, appropriate
a little bit
materials,
and I mean
realities that she didn't fully know about, but she wanted to know about and had to know about.
Right. And I think that's really valuable, and I'm surprised that we don't do that more often. And I think one of the reasons that I've encountered so many poor representation of polyamory within media has been that people who are seeing it and doing it don't necessarily, or creating that media, don't necessarily have real lived experience, or if they they haven't bought into community buy-in. And so I really wanted to really bring people on board as early as possible.
It's fascinating that the comedy part of rom-com is touching on some truth for people. Quincy Jones has a famous saying, is that laughter is the soul's way of shouting, "Ain't that the truth?"
Oh, I like that.
And it just bursts out, and so that's what you're trying to touch on. truths,
Yeah.
realities reflected accurately, so people are like recognizing, whoa.
But
That's me up there.
I also like that calm is also the root of like communication,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
community.
Oh.
It's the communicares where it comes from, where it brings people together.
Yeah.
It's about that connection, which is what our show
what we're
is
here
all
for.
about, is the connections that we like to explore. Was there any aha moment last night that you just went, oh, that is interesting?
Gosh, that's a great question. I feel like the thing that really stuck out for me was just the degree to which it generated genuine laughter of recognition. There was one monologue that I wrote, which was about a woman, the main love interest, is interested in being with this other partner who has other partners, and she talks about how she isn't. She has this dream of being surrounded by his kids in the future. Not her kids, but his.
Interesting.
And he's not there because, of course, she's going to outlive him. But this notion of being part of a larger community of family, that sort of like connection. And I was genuinely surprised by how touching that moment was for so many people in the room. And this notion that what we're looking for is not just about the person that we're with, but is actually about sort of this dream of a life we can have.
And a greater sense of family as well.
Absolutely.
And the traditional family can cut some people out in terms of feeling like they're part of it. And what part can we all play in that family and that greater community?
Absolutely.
John, thank you. We're
Thank
going to
you.
have one more segment, but I want to make sure that we do some shout outs. I'm going to let our friend Rick share about some websites that we should know about.
Well, John Heimbuch, HEIMBUCH.com is his website, and then walkingshadow.org is the theater's website that we were just experiencing and talking about. Also coming up after this program is Feels Out Loud at noon here at the Pride Festival. Just stick around as well, and we're going to hear a little bit more music of If I Ruled the World. All right.
And that's by Patrick Adams.
Playing with his friends in the park, white, black, yellow, light, and dark, yeah. All we need is just a change. Can we give back that care now? Yeah, yeah. All we need is just a change. Together, we the world be free, yes. All we need is a change of heart.
Your Twin Cities Metro Public Libraries are committed to providing quality services, resources, and programs to the LGBTQ+ community. Check out the Metro Pride book list, including ebooks and e-audio for kids, teens, and adults at melsa.org/pride-booklist. That's melsa.org/pride-booklist. You'll find titles specific to different identities, including aromantic, asexual, bi+, gay, genderqueer, intersex, lesbian, queer families, transgender, and two-spirit. Stop by Melsa's tent at Twin Cities Pride to share your own reading recommendations. Check out those contributed by other festival attendees, pick up buttons and bookmarks, and find out more about your Twin Cities Metro Public Libraries. Don't have a library card? Staff at the tent can help you with that. There will be librarians from the Metro Public Library systems who are happy to provide book recommendations and other info on how to get the most from your library card. The Council on LGBTQIA2S+ Minnesotans is conducting a community needs survey. Data from the survey will be used to make recommendations to improve LGBTQ people's health and well-being in Minnesota. The May 31st deadline has been extended through June. So as we celebrate Pride Month, make sure you take advantage of this extraordinary opportunity to tell our stories. The survey is confidential, and you can fill it out online at mnqt.info/survey. Support comes from Hennepin Arts, presenting Hidden Brain Perceptions Tour with Shankar Vedantam. Are there parts of our minds that are hidden from us? This question launched the Hidden Brain podcast 10 years ago. Now host and creator Shankar Vedantam brings 7 key insights from the first decade of Hidden Brain to the stage. Whether you're new to the show or a longtime listener, this evening of science and storytelling will change how you think about yourself. Tickets available at hennepinarts.org.
Hi, it's Mitch, owner of Junk Masters. Spring's a perfect time to get your space back and clear out those unwanted items. The best part? Just show us what goes. We are local and independent, just like AM 950. We provide residential and commercial services. Our landfill diversion program includes donating, recycling, and leveraging waste to energy whenever possible. You don't have to worry about a thing. We do all the work for you. Contact us for a free quote. There's no obligation. Visit junkmastersmn.com to get started today.
Market Fresh Minnesota is your to-go destination for fresh vegetables, quality meats, seafood, and a wide variety of grocery staples. Locally owned and operated, Market Fresh Minnesota brings together the best of Asian foods in one welcoming store that is also kind to the pocketbook. Discover Market Fresh, your local Asian food store, just south of Rosedale on 1800 County Road 36.
When I think about this life and the changes I've been through, all the many ups and downs, yeah, I'm so glad that I found you. When I close my eyes, I can see visions of your lovely face. You make my day so bright. With you in my world, I can see clearly, 'cause you are my light. Yeah, you take me away. Take me away. Take me away.
Good morning. I'm Lori Fitz, and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter, and sometimes we talk about romance. And we have been talking about romance. We have been talking about love. We've been talking about allyship. We've been talking about LGBTQ plus. And we're doing that celebrating here at the Pride Festival at Loring Park, the largest Pride Festival in the world, with over 650,000 folks that come here. And I'm so proud to be here. And I love that song, Take Me Away. Patrick Adams, thank you for letting us use an original song here with a songwriter in the Twin Cities area.
Talk about romance. It's just Take Me Away. Yeah. Yes, please.
And we've got John Heimbach here.
Hello.
Thank you, John, for being here today. John, you're a playwright. You are a director. You are a founding member. You are the executive director. You are a founding of Walking Shadow. You do so much.
I do a bunch of things, although I will say I'm not actually the executive director.
Okay.
I'll give a shout out to David Pisa.
I just saw him the other day.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
Yeah.
Sorry, David.
Artistic.
I rifted that one.
It's all right.
So you've got something cool coming up.
Yeah.
At Walking Shadow.
We do.
Tell us about it.
Sure. So, David Pisa, our executive director, is also a puzzle designer here in the Twin Cities. And he's designed a number of escape rooms around the Twin Cities, as well as a variety of puzzle events. And so we've done, this will be the 6th of these, I believe, that we've done. We're doing a show called Zero Lands, a play with puzzles. And it is a live immersive theater space that is half escape room, half live theater.
How wild is that?
Pretty wild.
You've done other ones. Tell me how they went and what people experience when they go there.
Sure. So our most recent other one was called Cabal, and it was built into a warehouse space, an artist residence space in Northeast Minneapolis. And it was basically 10 people in the go into the show at a time. And there are 2 actors. And in that show, they were initiates to a magical secret society.
Oh.
And then something goes wrong with the leadership succession.
Uh-oh.
And suddenly they need to use their magic powers to do seances speak with the dead and summon people back from beyond the grave. It's a really interesting show.
So some of these sound like they're like the hero's journey come to life.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
Where's my holy grail?
Well, and so Zero Lands is written by Liz Hara, who is an Emmy Award-winning writer, who is also a puppeteer. And we've been working with her for the last couple years on developing and honing the script, and we've been working with actors. And now we're just building out the space and basically getting all of the design elements of the show in place for it to open.
One of the things I love to do in our last segment is to do a call to action for our audience.
Oh, cool.
So, John, I'd love to have you do some call to actions that you think would be great for Walking Shadow and some of the other work that you do.
Sure. Well, I'd say for Walking Shadow, the best thing you can do right now is go onto our mailing list and go onto our website and find our mailing list and sign up for it. And then come on out to Zero Lands when we open. We don't have a set opening time for that because it's an ongoing developmental process, just like I was talking about ongoing script development processes earlier. But you'll learn all sorts of things about what we're up to with our next season, including Zero Lands, which we're hoping to open later this summer or this fall.
And I see that it's walkingshadow.org/Zero Lands. So it has its own little landing page.
That's right. But you can also find it just on our general walkingshadow.org page. It's right up there.
Oh, yeah. And you're going to have a starting time because you have to. That's theater eventually.
Once it opens,
once you get it all worked out, and once you have the escape room, so it's not as deadly or something.
Yeah. So I hope it's not deadly at all. We're really doing
Take
something
your life
wrong.
into your hands. No, we're only kidding.
Maybe just funny.
And Zero Lands is set in a small Midwest college, and it takes place in the world of children's literature. Your students in a children's lit class. And then, of course, like most children's literature, you end up exploring alternate domains of fun and whimsy.
And tonight there's something special that we can do another shout out for.
There absolutely is. We are doing a reading, not through Walking Shadow, but through myself, of Friends and Lovers, which is a polyamorous rom-com. We're doing a reading at 7 p.m. of scenes from that play, followed by feedback from the audience afterwards. And that will be at Zion Lutheran Church in St. Paul, part of Arts on the Fond Street.
And how can we follow you with your journey with Mae West?
Mae West and the Trial of Sex.
That's right.
You can find me on my website, johnheimbuch.com. That's JohnHeimbuch.com. And I'll be posting all sorts of information there, or you can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram and on Facebook.
I also want to do a big thank you to Cup of Java giving me my French roast. Thank you. It's delicious. And Nicolette's macaroons. Oh my gosh, they are the best macarons I have ever. Wanda, we thank Rick Bernardo, our co-host.
Thank you, Rick.
That would be me, yeah. And we have Feels Out Loud. That's a show coming up right here at the booth at AM 950 at the Pride Festival. And Lori, thanks for hosting and pulling it all together. And John, you always pull things together and
thank you.
Sometimes separate things in a funny way.
That's good. I hope so.
Any last words that you'd like to have, John?
Just thank you so much for having me out here and giving me an excuse to come to Pride this year. It's just such a great time, and I'm excited to be here.
And we're excited to be at Twin Cities Pride. This is a fabulous festival. Please come down. It's an amazing event with lots of different booths and fun things to do. We'll be coming back next week at 9 a.m. on AM 950 Radio, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Discover a world of foods. Visit Shanghai International Wholesale Market, a spacious food warehouse open to the public with discounts for buying in bulk. Incredible selection of global and local foods. 500 different